So a while back, I did an install on my 2025 Cam-Spyder RT See the Sky, affectionately known as Storm. And I promised after I put a couple of 100 miles on these new rotors and brake pads from Martin the Vlogger that I would give you guys a review. So here it is. For those of you that are new to the channel, I'm Kevin, low budget spider rider. Welcome. I've had a chance, as the weather is warmed up here where I'm at in Michigan, to really ride and get a feel of the new setup so that I could give you an honest opinion. And before I jump into that, I'll preface it by saying this. I generally mod my Spyder in 3 categories, and those 3 categories are safety, performance, and comfort. Now, before I decided to do this upgrade, actually wait till this plane passes. Before I decided to do this upgrade, I really had to ask myself, what was I trying to accomplish? Because this is not a cheap upgrade. I think total cost, when it was all said and done, for the new rotors and pads was about $850. Then I was also surprised by a $350 tariff that I had to pay to have it shipped, obviously from his home country and shipped to the United States where I'm at. And that was about $350 by DHL. It wasn't a cost that I was aware of up front. Once it was shipped and it reached stateside, I had received an email from DHL saying that I had to pay the tariff in order for them to release the package to me, where they would send it back to the original shipper. Ultimately, after some hem and hawing and back and forth and a few colorful swear words, obviously I went on ahead and pulled the trigger and took delivery of it. Now, when I think about comparison between these and the stock brake pads and rotors, and another plane, very busy here. The plane traffic is Memorial Day. Now, real quick, I'm just giving you a visual shot of the stock rotor and brake pads so you can have a visual comparison. Now, for me, I did not have an issue with how the stock calipers and pads performed. This is a big bike to begin with, so obviously stopping power is always going to be a safety issue. So when I had to make a decision on what I was trying to do, I felt this upgrade fell in the safety thing. Anything that could improve the performance better was definitely something that I wanted to consider and try out. And ultimately, I have not been disappointed. Everything that Martin the Vlogger said these pads and rotors would deliver, they have. Is definitely a performance upgrade. I don't ride too aggressive, but I do ride in heavy traffic, as you've seen from a lot of my riding videos. So sometimes there's a lot of stop and go. I've had to do some emergency stopping a few times since I've done this upgrade, and I can tell you it's a lot more smoother in how my Spyder stops. It's very responsive. The braking is very even. It's not as jerky as the quick stopping was on the stock setup. Is it worth the money? I think that's just going to come down to those of you that decide to make this purchase yourself. I've never been one to tell people what they should and should not buy. That's not what my channel is about. I think ownership and modding is a very personal experience for each individual person. That's why I try to make my videos from a standpoint of, thinking about it from a psychological standpoint. Thinking about what you're trying to accomplish by doing what you're doing so you can get the most out of it, so it's not money wasted. And for me, I think this was a very good upgrade, not just from a safety aspect, but aesthetically as well. I do like the look that the new setup gives my Spyder. As I've said in earlier videos, when you start modding, You're not just upgrading, you're changing how things look. And I think it gives it a nice, clean, sporty look. And it was a pretty straightforward, easy swap out as well. Um, since I was already looking things over after I had did my video about when I hit a pothole and damaged the front skid plate, that's when I went on ahead and did the upgrade. And it was pretty straightforward, taking the old rotors and pads off and swapping them out with the new ones. And the break-in process was very straightforward. Like I said, I do notice an increase in stopping power, the smoothness and how my Spyder stops. And I think if you decide to make this purchase for yourself, you will agree. Again, the only thing that surprised me about this was the tariff. And that's not on Martin the Blogger. That's just a US thing right now. I'm not real big into politics, so I'm not going to make this video about that. But that was just the only thing that surprised me about the purchase, was that additional $350 something tariff that was on top of the $850 investment that I already had when I made the purchase. But this is why I share this with you. This is part of my ownership journey, so I share this with you to maybe save you from being as surprised as I was. It may be different, maybe a different tariff going to a different state here in the US, but for me, that's what the cost was. And ultimately, I decided to go ahead and make that investment, and I haven't been disappointed. Everything that I've done to my Spyder has had purpose, and like I said, it will generally fall in another plane, so we'll wait. It is Memorial Day weekend, like I said, so people are probably flying back home. My home kind of sits along that dreaded flight path, so I get a lot of airplane traffic over my house, which kind of makes it hard to film these videos sometimes, but it is what it is. Again, everything that I've done, it falls into one of three categories, and that's going to be safety, performance, and comfort. So I hope this video helps you out. If you're thinking about making that purchase and upgrading your Spyder with the floating brake pads and rotors from Martin the Blogger, again, I appreciate all the support on the channel. For those of you that have been tuning in and watching, for all my current and new subscribers, it's been very appreciative. I never expected this type of support when I started this channel about 4 months ago. I hope we can continue to make it grow, and I look forward to bringing you guys more Spyder ownership content. As always, live for the experiences, and definitely enjoy the ride. Peace.